as well as the Baltimore-Washington Parkway, which is owned by the National Park Service. I've opposed these efforts to widen and to toll these roads. I support tolling more in the case of new facilities, not in existing facilities, and I don't view expanding existing facilities as a new facility. But I also think, as Chairman DeFazio and others mentioned, it falls disproportionately on particularly working families that don't have the flexibility in their commute. Mayor Gilbert, two of the original alternatives put forward in the NEPA study for this Capital Beltway project I just mentioned included dedicated bus managed lane and fixed guideway bus rapid transit alternatives. Unfortunately, they were not included in the list of screened alternatives. In fact, none of the transit alternatives were included in the final list. And you say in your written testimony, and I wanted you to, an opportunity to expand on this because you were about to do that in response to the last question. You said that electronic tolled express lanes are essential, but we believe the best long-term alternative to highly congested roadways in Miami-Dade is to expand our rapid transit network. Seems like, and I think Dr. Lomax agrees as well in his written testimony, you have to provide choices. Can you just talk about that combination and the real value added with your express bus system?
Express bus it has to be an option, and tolls have to be an option, but it only really works right if you actually have rapid transit that's available. If you don't, you are starting to price people out of the ability to get places very quickly. So the system isn't meant to be a one-off system. And right now, that's what we're all trying to do. We're trying to find this silver bullet to actually, this is what's going to happen. This is what's going to fix it. Bus rapid transit is going to be important on 95 in those express lanes. But it's not going to be the answer because we still have the first and the last miles. So we know that rapid transit down our major corridors is going to be important, but it's not going to be the answer because those are just the major corridors. We need a system that actually addresses all of the needs. And if we're going to fund that system, that's probably going to take some type of tolling. It's probably going to take adjusting the gas tax.
Let me ask you though on that last mile. So are the buses only traveling on the interstate highway, or have you also expanded bus service into the communities?
We have an extensive bus service, but the bus express rapid transit is primarily in those areas. What we've done, for instance, in my hometown and a lot of the cities in Miami-Dade County is we have free shuttles. The Miami Gardens Express that Congresswoman Wilson referenced was actually our effort to actually take people from the major corridors into the interior areas of the city where buses don't necessarily take you very often. And so we didn't want people sitting out there waiting, for instance, to get to an internal park. So we put all of those things on a free shuttle, and that's our answer to that last mile and the first mile because it actually takes you to the major commercial corridors. A number of cities in South Florida have that. But let me just say, those are built out through a half penny that we actually started collecting, I guess, 30 years ago. And the city's portions of it, that's how we provide those shuttles.
And let me ask you this. Would the express lanes, the electronic tolled express lanes, would that work? I mean, would you be achieving the kinds of successes that you're achieving without express bus if you didn't include the express bus in it?
No, I don't believe we would. I believe the increase in that ridership over the first 2 years shows us that people do want an option to getting out of their vehicle, and they don't necessarily want to pay the prices that are associated with the express lanes themselves.
Dr. Lomax, is there anything that you want to expand on in terms of diversifying travel options?
I think it's key that the strategies are all the strategies are going to be needed. I think maybe another component of this is the public engagement process. We've had some discussion about that. I think part of the issue of resolving the funding crisis is going to be to make sure that people understand what the money's going for. I don't think they get a real sense of what the value proposition is. And in the cases where funding has been increased, there's a very clear connection between what you're paying and what you're getting.
I know in the mobility report, you looked at the DC region and you've seen the costs of doing nothing. So do you think it makes sense to expand the 495 system without including at least a look at bus rapid transit or other transit options?
In general, I think transit options are a great part of the express lane system. I haven't studied the 494 Capital Beltway in detail.
Thank you. I yield back nothing as well, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. Brown. Mr. Katko.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and